3 constellations had appeared before him. He was astonished. He hadn't thought they would come so quickly, and all 3 had arrived. The goddess had appeared. Shin was surprised. He became nervous. He wondered if he was being too arrogant now. He had never experienced anything like this in his previous life. The goddess looked at Shin and smiled. She was happy and showed interest in Shin. Looking at Shin, she had never seen a swordsman so fortunate. Shin was smiling because he had invested all his free points in luck. It seemed like these divine beings were interested in making a contract with Shin. Now Shin had to check things out before making his decision. The first is the Warden of the Corrupt Dimension, a specific divine entity of slaughter. He was interested due to Shin killing all the goblins. The second is the Wandering Pilgrim in the Grand Universe. Shin couldn't understand why he was here. It seemed like he appeared because of the Goddess of Fortune. The Goddess of Fortune is said to be quite popular even among the divine beings. The goddess looked at Shin. She told him that she was not like the other divine beings. If Shin chose her, he could make another contract with any other divine entity. Shin remembered that this was an incredible advantage. In his previous life, there was a person who had made a contract with the Goddess of Fortune and another divine entity, an archer who could shoot arrows in the air and still hit the exact target. Some people thought he was cheating or doing something else, but he had just contracted with 2 constellations. It was none other than the Goddess of Fortune who made the impossible possible. As soon as 3 constellations approached him, Shin became confused. The 3 divinities urged him to let go of such trivial worries and demanded an important decision. The Goddess of Fortune is certainly a good deity, but if he considers the possibility that no other deity may come in the future, this decision will determine the rest of his player's life. In his past life, when he became a player, in the last 10 years, only one deity had come to him. The late blooming model student. His presence was literally a ray of light for him. Even though Shin had been unhappy until then, he believed that his future would be bright. But nothing changed, and he turned 55. He never benefited from him because the requirements for blessings were ridiculous. Well, in the end, he might have managed to return to the timeline because of that deity, so he should be grateful. Therefore, he needs to be even more cautious, because he should assume that there will be no return to the timeline again. He has to choose between the 3, the divine power from the pilgrim wandering in the grand universe, the destructive force from the corrupt dimensional guardian, or just the Goddess of Fortune. Shin was ready to choose the deity. He clicked on the Accept button. The one he chose was the Goddess of Fortune. She was surprised when Shin chose her, but once the contract was made, she was very happy. The contract lasts for 30 years, even if the player dies. Some constellations sincerely congratulated him on his contract. Some showed hostility in trying to hinder his growth. He did not expect to get so much attention from them. Well, he has made his decision. Shin reached out his hand because they had to take care of each other. She slowly puts her hand in his and begins to bless Shin. Shin looked out of his window. The first blessing was that every hit would be a critical hit. The second was that every hidden skill of artifacts would be revealed. The third was that every boss monster would drop artifacts. She was proud because her blessings were crazy. Shin thought all the blessings were broken, as if the blessings were not over. The fourth blessing was that if Shin put a point in luck, it would increase by 2 points, and this would also apply to the devourer of artifacts. As Shin was crying, he looked back. She asked him to choose his second contract. Both were waiting for Shin's response. Shin asked them to leave for now, as he needed to focus on the goddess. Both were surprised by Shin's response. They warned him to protect himself as they would kill him the next time they met. The goddess had transformed into a small form. She wanted to hug Shin, but Shin was nervous. Shin realized that the goddess had told him that he didn't need to be greedy right now. Because better opportunities would come later, Shin finally entered the boss room and they started their fight. The goddess was surprised by his fight because Shin had become stronger with the devourer of artifacts. The boss matched his strength. Shin attacked him directly, and the monster blocked it with his axe. The boss was a greedy goblin lord. The boss deflected his attack as Shin pulled back from his attack. The boss activated his skill intensity. Shin was waiting for his attack. The attack was not as deadly as paralysis, but it was forcibly breaking his fighting spirit. Shin activated his skill recovery. The boss launched his attack, but his attack missed. Shin recovered with his skill. The boss's skill was good, but it didn't work on Shin. As Shin recovered, he was ready to counterattack. The boss was surprised to see Shin. Shin attacked him and injured him. Shin activated his skill Demon Bash. The boss was stunned for 2 seconds. Shin continued to attack him. He used skill delay and stunned him again. The boss couldn't understand what was happening. Shin came behind him as he continued to attack. He came in front of him and was smiling. The boss was shocked and panicked as he knew his time had come. This concludes today's episode. See you all in the next episode. Thank you for watching my video. Please like and subscribe to my channel.